Elon Musk receives more backlash on Twitter. Jimmy Kimmel is the new host of the Oscars, and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is finally hitting theaters.
It's all coming up right now on The Take. Hey everyone, and welcome to The Take. I'm Elizabeth Wagmeister.
And I'm Clayton Davis, and we're here to give you our take on some of the week's biggest stories. Court cases, hosts being announced. It's been a good week.
There has been a lot of news in the world of entertainment, but you have to start us off with the first story because we got our news of the Oscar host.
That's right. ABC and the Academy Awards announced that Jimmy Kimmel will return for the third time to host the 95th ceremony set to take place on March 12th. He joins only 5 others who have hosted 3 times along the Academy's history. That includes Steve Martin and David Niven. We are expecting a great show that will be produced by Glenn Weiss and will have a lot of big populist contenders in the conversation, such as Top Gun Maverick and possibly Black Panther: Wakanda Forever and Avatar: The Way of Water. So, the Academy had announced this host, who I love, Jimmy Kimmel. I think he did a great job when he was hosting. They had promised a big change up in the ceremony. And so far, it looks pretty safe. However, as I took a step back and really evaluated this, they're already trying to figure out how to get all 23 categories said on the air live. They're already figuring out how to make the show more fun. There are some things they need to stay safe and familiar. Jimmy Kimmel is a safe choice, but he's a good choice. It doesn't make him a bad choice in the slightest. So I'm actually excited. We'll see what he does. I think we'll have 1 or 2 slap jokes, maybe.
I feel like we will definitely have some jokes about the slap, and also we know that Emancipation, Will Smith's film, very much is in the Oscar conversation, so we very much may have some jokes with people on the scene. But back to Jimmy Kimmel, I agree with you that sure, he is a safe bet, but I also think that he's a great choice. I understand that it could seem a bit underwhelming for this to be the big, great unveiling of the Oscar host, because over the past few years, there's been 2 hosts, there's been 3 hosts, there's been no host, there's been so many different permutations of this, and everyone kind of has their dream list, right, of who they want to see on that stage. I do hope that in future years we do get to see more people, but I think you're right that Jimmy Kimmel, he is familiar. People watch him every night, and in this time when all award shows, particularly the Oscars, are really fighting for ratings, sometimes it could be a good choice to stick with what people know and what people love.
And this is coming right off the heels of him signing his 3-year deal.
Yes.
So maybe this was all part of a little package, who knows? But I'm excited. I think he's very, very funny, and we'll get some great skits during the opening monologue at least.
Absolutely, and I cannot believe it's already Oscar season, but it is, so much more to come on that front. But let's move and take a more serious turn. This week, Warren Beatty was hit with a lawsuit from a woman alleging that he coerced her into having sex when she was a minor in 1973. Now, this woman says that she was 14 or 15 at the time. She met Warren Beatty on a movie set, and he gave her a lot of attention. Now, before we even get into this, I want to caution that Warren Beatty has not responded to this lawsuit yet, and these are all allegations at this point. Now, let's get into this a little bit. What is interesting is that Warren Beatty actually isn't mentioned by name in the suit whatsoever. The woman says that it is a star who was nominated for an Oscar for his role as Clyde in Bonnie and Clyde, so that pretty much gives it away, but his name is not actually in the suit. Now, this woman alleges that in 1973, when she met Warren Beatty, when she was a teenager, around 14 or 15, he gave her a lot of attention. He offered to give her rides in his car, offered to bring her to his hotel, and that at the time she was thrilled, that's the word that was in the lawsuit, that she was getting this attention. But now looking back on it, she realizes that it has greatly impacted her life, so she is suing for damages. Now, I want to read a direct quote from this woman. In the lawsuit, there is a claim that the defendant, quote, used his position and status as an adult and a Hollywood movie star to coerce sexual contact with plaintiff on multiple occasions, including oral sex, simulated sex, and finally, coerce sexual intercourse with the minor child. Now, she is suing for damages, and the reason why she was able to bring this suit forth at all is because in 2019 there was a law passed that created a look-back window for survivors of child sexual abuse to seek justice against their alleged abusers. So that's how this came up, but again, we have not heard yet from Warren Beatty, and it'll be interesting to see if we hear a response from this lawsuit, and of course at Variety we have reached out to his representatives.
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to add here, especially since you mentioned the law, the look-back law is important, and I think that highlights that everyone deserves to have their day in court. Whether or not it's true or false, every case should be investigated and looked at, and everyone should have their voices heard. So until we hear back and hear all the facts, that's where we're going to fall on it.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Now let's move on to another story. If you haven't heard, but if you're on Twitter, you probably have, Elon Musk now owns Twitter. As the new owner, as one does when they take over a business, Elon has been making some changes to the social media platform, but one of these changes in particular is catching a lot of controversy. Elon Musk announced that he is going to be charging $8 per month to be part of Twitter Blue, which is essentially that blue check mark. Now, I see you closing your eyes. I see you turning away from me, so I know that you have, and shaking your head. I know you have a lot of thoughts. But first, let's talk about some of the Hollywood players who are speaking out against Elon Musk as the new owner. So first of all, we saw Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey tweet at Elon Musk, not in a very positive way. We saw Mark Cuban giving him some business advice. Whoopi Goldberg said on The View that she is going to be leaving Twitter, and she delivered on that promise. She's no longer on Twitter. And then Kathy Griffin, good old Kathy Griffin.
Always bet on her.
She actually made her Twitter name Elon Musk. And then Elon Musk restricted her account because he said that anybody who is going to have a parody account needs to state that they have a parody account. So what did Kathy Griffin do? Well, she took matters into her own hands. She went onto her late mother's account and she started tweeting and said, I don't think my mother would mind. So that is just one of the examples of what we are seeing happening in Hollywood in response to Twitter. But again, I see you shaking your head. Give me your thoughts.
Elon Musk is such a narcissist, and this whole rollout is, I don't even know if he really wanted to buy it. I think he did it as a flex. It doesn't make any sense. And then looking at what he did with Twitter Blue, he then rolled out the official label for companies, media, and notable personalities that would go on accounts to show that they're really them. So he made verification of the verification, and then everyone else with blue check mark has to pay it, and then he quickly took it back. He is a disaster for Twitter. He is really, I mean, not that Twitter was like this great loving place, but I see the end of this company somewhere coming down the road, because I don't think that he's going to be able to steer it in the right direction.
I mean, as you said, Twitter is not the greatest place. It is quite a toxic place. For our work, we have to be on there. I don't want it to get more toxic, so I guess this is a wait and see, but I do think that you're right. The stakes are high. This affects mostly everyone, probably everyone watching right now. And as we know, there's also other competing social platforms that are coming from every which way. So we'll see what happens, but please lighten up the mood. Tell us about our Variety cover this week.
This week on our cover, Letitia Wright and Angela Bassett alongside writer and director Ryan Coogler of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. The three break down what it was like on set and bring in this new story to the MCU. In addition to that, the three also reflect on their time with Chadwick Boseman. As everyone knows, he passed away in 2020 after a private battle with cancer. He played T'Challa in the film that was nominated for Best Picture. So let me start at the top. It's Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett, 64 years old. The pictures are fire. She is an incredible woman, smart, savvy, and I think a possible frontrunner for Best Supporting Actress this year. It's going to be great. But alongside that, Letitia Wright does an amazing job as Shuri. And listen, she was great in the first one, but this time she's carrying the franchise on her shoulders. And Ryan Coogler, speaking about Boseman, getting emotional, reflecting on his time here on Earth that was cut very, very short. Either way you put it, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is going to mean a lot to a lot of people, and it allows the actors us as fans to mourn him. It's probably one of the better outings I had at the movies this year. So no matter where you kind of fall in the movie, it's definitely respectful.
Absolutely. And when I interviewed Letitia Wright earlier this summer, she promised, of course, there were no spoilers, as is in the world of Black Panther, but she promised that it really was going to be a beautiful love letter to Chadwick Boseman. And this cover, I think, made us all emotional because at Variety, before Black Panther came out, years ago, we had Ryan Coogler on the cover with Chadwick Boseman. So now this is round 2 with, of course, a somber tone, but also a celebratory tone that we get to see the cast and the director really honor him. I can't wait to see it. I haven't seen it yet. And we know the box office will gladly welcome this because they have been awaiting Black Panther to hit. Black Adam has been dominating, but we definitely need another big hit at the box office.
It's tracking, I think, at 175 at the moment. So it's going to be a huge weekend. And shout outs to Angelique Jackson and Adam Very, who wrote a great story. Everyone should give it a read.
Yes, absolutely. Kudos to them, our friends and colleague. And kudos to you guys for always joining us right here on The Take. As you know, we'll be back on Friday.
See you next week.